Hello and welcome to this half-term's Induction Tutor briefing recording. I'm Dan Horton, the Deputy Director of the Leicestershire and Rutland Teaching School Hub and the AB lead for the Hub as well. I'm doing this recording for those that may have missed the most recent Induction Tutor briefing, but if you were able to attend, then please feel free to watch the recording as well if you wanted to be reminded of any actions. This is our team. I will start each Induction Tutor briefing just with this slide so you're aware of who to contact if you need any assistance and the contact details for the people at the Hub. This is our briefing agenda for the meeting. We're going to start to look at key responsibilities, some of the things we've looked at previously, but just as a reminder for those people that need it. We'll then look at actions, any things that are upcoming or any things that people may not have yet done that needs to happen as soon as possible. We'll move on to termly reports, but just be aware there is a report writing webinar coming up in the not too distant future. And then we're looking at an update to supportive measures for ECTs that may just need that little bit more support and a more formal support plan as a result. The first stage is key responsibilities. This is a slide we looked at last time, but it's just key to remind yourselves of the induction tutor role and what this exactly looks like in your school. Now, it's important to remember that you are the contact for anybody involved in the ECTE. So what that means is if your ECT or mentor have any issues with maybe Step Lab, with coaching relationships, with any things that aren't quite happening as they should be, then they will be coming to you. If we have anything that we need to bring to you from our side, it could be that maybe ECTs or mentors aren't doing what they should be on Step Lab, the observation and feedback cycles aren't happening, the self-study modules aren't being done, then we will come to you as well. So you just need to make sure that any contact details you've got are up to date, are correct, because if we need to come to you with any issues, then that's you're the person that we will get in touch with. This briefing will also be sent with the PDF of the slides, and all of the links on the slides are clickable. So if you do want any more about what your role entails, then please click the hyperlink at the bottom of this slide. Another key part of your role is accessing the lead tab on Step Lab. Now, it's really important that you access this regularly, because what you can see on there is you can see which ones of your ECTs have completed their self-study modules in that period, which ones of your mentors have completed the observation and feedback cycle in that period too, who has been doing this regularly, because what we're looking for really is that there's one of these done, a self-study module done every fortnight in an ECT's first year and second year, and that a mentor's been completing an observation and feedback cycle every week in an ECT's first year and every fortnight in an ECT's second year. And you can see all of that from Step Lab and from the lead tab. What you can also do there is you can nudge and praise your coaches and your ECTs. So if you feel like your ECTs have been regularly accessing content, then you can praise that work on Step Lab and give them a lovely little message. If you feel like your mentors or ECTs haven't quite been doing what they should be, then you can also access the nudge tab on there just to remind them of the expectations for the ECT's entitlements. If you're in a bigger school, that's particularly helpful. If you're in a smaller school, then maybe you want to do that face-to-face and just have that word if you feel like your ECTs or mentors haven't quite been doing everything they should be. Now we're going to move on to actions and any things that are upcoming that you may or may not have yet completed. The first thing to look at is events. Now again, we've showed this slide on the last Induction Tutor briefing, but it is important that we are able to access some of these things. Now on our website, you'll be able to find our ECTE program dates for the full year. And that means what events we've got coming up for ECT1s, ECT2s, mentors in their first year and mentors in their second year. Any events to sign up for will be done via our Leicestershire and Rutland Teaching School Hub website. The link again at the bottom will work if you click on that one in the PDF version of the file we'll send out. But otherwise, you can head to our website, and on the About Us section, you can see the events and what we offer. And then your participants can either book onto those events themselves, or you as the induction tutor can book your participants onto the events for them. These are the upcoming events we've got in the next few months. So for September 2025 starters, that's ECTs in their first year, they have their first clinic coming up week beginning Monday the 24th of November. Each clinic is 4:15 till 5:45 on Zoom, and they happen on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or a specialist SEN clinic on the Thursday. You can again book onto those events via our website. ECTs can book themselves on, or you can book them onto by clicking the link and using their contact details. If you've got any ECTs in their second year, that's September 2024 starters, then they have their clinic 4 coming up on Monday the 1st of December, or week beginning I should say, Monday the 1st of December, again 4:15 till 5:45 on Zoom. Again, that is available on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or a specialist SEN clinic on Thursday. If you've got any January or April starters, so January 2025 or April 2025, they're part of the cohort 2024, but they have some separate events that are coming up. So if you've got a January or April starter from last year, a mentor in their first year, that means that their conference 2 is coming up on Monday the 8th of December, 9:30 till 4:30, and that will happen at our hub in Glenfield. Again, the event, when you book onto that event, if you have a mentor that started in January or April last year, the details for where the hub is will be on the event link. If you have an ECT that started in January or April from last year, then their Clinic 3 is coming up online on Zoom on Tuesday the 9th of December, again 4:15 till 5:45. That's not a week beginning date, the only date for that is Tuesday the 9th of December. If any of your participants that started in January or April 2025 are unable to make those events, please let us know, and then we can send out some different things to try and help them catch up with some of that content. The final thing on the actions is that at some point over the next few weeks, either myself or Joe will be getting in touch because we're doing a data check, and we'll be in touch regarding one of the following. If any of your participants have still not onboarded with StepLab, that means that they've not gone into My ECT, onboarding an EDI and completed their StepLab access form, then we'll be getting in touch with those people. Some of those participants will already have been sent an email reminder out to access their StepLab access form. Without completing that, they won't be able to get onto StepLab, and they won't be able to complete either their self-study modules or their weekly or fortnightly coaching cycles. We'll also be getting in touch with anybody that has completed their StepLab access form, but as of yet hasn't logged on to StepLab. That's a really important part. Until you've logged on to StepLab, you obviously won't be able to complete any of the content, and it's really key that that content is completed. If any of your participants have had emails that have bounced when we've tried to send either a StepLab access form or we've tried to send a key piece of information over to them, then again, we'll be getting in touch with you just to make sure that their contact details are correct. And then if there's been any queries raised, that could be that anybody's unsure about what cohort they're supposed to be in, anybody's unsure about any events that they should have attended, about their full-time or not, then again, we'll be getting in touch with those people as well. Now, the next part we're going to be looking at is the termly reports, when they're due, and other things that are going to hopefully help you with these termly reports too. Again, this slide we looked at last time, but it's really important to remember when those termly reports will be due. To complete those termly reports, they will be done on ECT Manager. You should have already logged on to ECT Manager because that's one part of the process of registering your ECTs. If you need the login again, then again, when we send out the PDF version of this slide deck, then you'll be able to click on the link at the top, and that will be able to take you to our ECT Manager page. These are completed at the end of each term, and all your assessments against the teacher standards. They're not against the work that's completed on StepLab or as part of the ECT program, but it is assessed against the teacher standards, and that's done on ECT Manager. It's based on progress over the term. So if you're not also the ECT's mentor, which for many of you that will be the case, that you're not the mentor as well, then please speak to the ECT's mentor for how the observations have been going. You can also check this yourself on StepLab by clicking on the lead tab and accessing and clicking on, some of the observation and feedback cycles. You can then see what comments have been made too. In terms 1, 2, 4 and 5, we're looking at progress reviews, and they're just strengths and areas for development. The ECT will comment, and then you and the ECT will sign the form. Once that's been signed, it will come to us and we will then review it. In terms 3 and 6, which for many of your ECTs will be at the end of July in their first year and in July in their second year, or the end of June for many of you actually, you'll do a full assessment against the teacher's standards, an end of year 1 assessment and the end of year 2 assessment. That will be against each of the teacher's standards, one at a time. The ECT will then comment, and at this one, you will sign it, the ECT will sign it, and the head teacher of the school will sign it if that's different to you. Okay, it's the responsibility of the induction tutor to complete these, not the mentor. So therefore the mentor will not need a login for ECT Manager. They will not need to access it, but you, the ECT and your head teachers will need to access ECT Manager. They'll be completed usually 2 weeks before the end of each term when we're looking at Leicestershire term dates. The next ones for most people are due on the 5th of December. If yours is different, it could be because your ECT's timeline is slightly different, because every ECT's journey will be different along this induction program. But if you think yours should be the 5th of December, get in touch and then we can look at your dates more accurately. You need to check your own dates for your own ECTs because everybody's will be slightly different. Now, to help you with this, we are running an upcoming event, a report writing webinar on Monday the 24th of November between 4 and 5 p.m. This will happen on Teams, and the link again is in the slide deck. When you have your PDF version in front of you, you'll be able to click on that link and that will be the joining link for that webinar. Throughout that, we'll look at how to write a progress review. We'll also touch upon how to write a full assessment, because some of you will have an assessment due at that time as well, because some of your ECTs may be finishing at that time or may have got to the end of their first year by December and by the end of this term. We'll look at details to include in the report, how to write one successfully, and I'll go through how to do that live with you. We'll then look at electronic signatures, the importance of making sure that happens, because until those have happened, we won't be reviewing your assessments and your progress reviews. And then deadlines coming up for the rest of the year, but also when to make sure that these are completed by. Supportive measures is one of the last things we'll look at as part of this, and an update to what those supportive measures might be. The current situation for support plans and supportive measures is that there's one support plan document. The induction tutor, the mentor, the team around the ECT will select careful targets based on what we think some of the areas for development might be. There'll be, at the minute, between 3 and 5 targets. And if there's progress made with those targets, then we might continue with another support plan, or we might come off a support plan. If no progress is made against those targets, well then at the end of that period, another support plan will be made. The upcoming changes is there's more of an escalation process to supportive measures. And there are some new document names that are going with this. Some of these names are subject to change, but at the minute, this is what we are going to be calling them. Here's the progression plan and the process and the escalation for the new supportive measures. So if we feel like an ECT is not making the expected progress, and before this happens we've put into place measures within a school, more informal measures, and I'll come up to what those might be in a second. If none of those informal measures have worked, then we move on to the appropriate body support plan cycle. Now, what that looks like currently, or what that will look like, is we will start with a rapid progress plan. That rapid progress plan will be 4 weeks long, will be consisting of 2 clear targets, and will hopefully be able to be actionable, small and manageable. If progress is made against those targets, you've got a choice. You can either take them off any supportive measures completely, or if minimal progress is made but some has been made, we can complete another rapid progress plan, but maybe with slightly altered targets. If no progress or minimal progress is made, then we can move on to a more formal support plan, That will be very similar to the current document, but what we're looking at here is it's going to be 6 weeks long with 3 clear targets. We're looking at that kind of time frame because currently what an ECT has is they are looking at a self-study module every 2 weeks. So it's falling in line with that kind of idea of a target every 2 weeks. So with that, what we're looking for here is, again, 3 clear targets, a more formal support plan where the ECT is starting to understand that actually there's elements to their practice that they need to continue to improve. If improvements made, we can de-escalate and go back to a rapid progress plan, or we can move them off a support plan altogether and they can be as expected of an ECT at that point. If no progress is made, then we can make another escalation to a cause for concern support plan. Again, this will be 6 weeks long with 3 clear targets. And again, the idea behind this is to understand for an ECT that we've now got a bit of concern because certain progress isn't being made. We're clear and we make the ECT understand the reasons for this and the outcomes of each of those targets. If support is made against a cause for concern support plan, again, we can de-escalate and go back down, or we can remove them from a support plan altogether because maybe they might now be at the expected standard for an ECT. So when do we use them? We use them when an ECT is not making expected progress against certain areas or all of the areas of the teacher's standards. Now, this doesn't have to be all areas. It could just be potentially that maybe they're not making progress against around behaviour management. Maybe they're not making progress around subject knowledge or how to plan and sequence lessons. Maybe they're not making progress against part 2 of the teacher's standards and you've got some concerns around professionalism. It could be specific areas you're looking at. Before this process starts, you should have put in informal supportive measures as part of your school practice. Now, those informal supportive measures could be additional mentor meetings. It could be more regular observations. It could be that you've taken things off their timetable. So it could, for example, if you're in a secondary school, maybe they're not a form tutor at the minute. Maybe they're not having to go into assemblies and they've got that time where they can use to plan and prep a bit more. Maybe there's a slightly reduced timetable. Maybe if they're an ECT2, they've still got 10% off timetable rather than the 5% that ECT2s do have. So before you get into this process, you should have put supportive measures in place in school. If they've not been successful, then you've communicated with us at the hub that they've not been successful and you'd like to move to a support plan base. You've then met with me or Joe on Teams to discuss the situation and the background to it. Joe or I have conducted a visit to your school as part of the QA process to make sure that we're happy with everything and that the process has been followed. And then after that, for formal supportive measures have started to be agreed, and then you're on to the rapid progress plan as talked about in the previous slide. Now, these changes will be completed in place ready for January 2026. They're going to be agreed and finalised by us at the hub over the next few weeks. And then in the new term after Christmas, they'll be ready to roll out and to help you support your ECTs. If your ECT is already on a support plan and they're already using the current document, continue to use that same document. If you're needing support plans before January 2026, then use the current document that many of you will be familiar with. But if you're not familiar with, again, some of the measures from the previous slide will just be continued. You'll talk to Joe or I, we'll guide you through the support plan process as it is currently, and then you'll use the current forms. Now, as part of the previous meeting, we looked at any other business. With this, we're going to more focus on the next induction tutor briefing date. We've spoken to you already about the report writing webinar on Monday the 24th of November 4 till 5. So make sure that you've got that in your diary and you're ready to access it. If you need support with writing reports, maybe you've not done them before, maybe you're new to being an induction tutor, or it might just be that you want a refresher or not sure if you've been doing them right previously. The next induction tutor briefing, similar to this style, is on Monday the 19th of January 2026. It should be the same link as the previous one. However, we are looking at it because some people had a few issues with gaining access. So if it is a new link, we'll tell you way in advance. Again, it'll be 3:30 till 5 p.m. on Teams. It's not an expectation that you're there for the full amount. The content is usually around 20 minutes with 5 or 10 minutes for questions afterwards. and then we recycle it. So if anybody joins at 4, then we'll go through it again. If somebody can't join until 4:30, we can go through the slides again. So it's not an expectation you're there for that full time, but drop in at any point during those times when you're available, and we'll provide the content to you. The final slide we'll look at in this video is just the contact slide. Here are our contact details. If you need any support from anybody at the Hub, then you can email ecf@ or ab@lrtshub.org.uk. You can also call us at the Hub, and we are available 8:30 till 4:30 Monday to Friday with the phone number there. If your problems more lie with StepLab or Ambition and My ECT, then your support for that is ectsupport@ambition.org.uk. CC us in. It could be the admin, one of those email addresses at the top. It could be my email address, so we know what the issue is and we can try and help from our side, but they can see more at their end. If you're part of Lionheart, Life or Rise Trust, then there are your contact details for that, and make sure you contact those people. Just be aware that Lionheart, Life and Rise do run their own events. Lionheart and Life run their own events for ECTs and mentors, so if you are part of those two trusts, that's where you'll go for your events, not the ones detailed earlier. Rise run their own events for ECTs, so if you are an ECT, again, you'll head for the events run by Rise, not the ones we detailed earlier on in the video. If you are a mentor with Rise, though, you will be part of our events, so make sure that if you're a mentor with Rise, you've accessed the events on our page as well. If you've got any other queries you need, or you've got mine or Joe's contact details, please feel free to get in touch and we'll try and help as best we can. We hope this video has been helpful. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.